there's a unique, strange aspect to reading a series where you're back to the main character, and you're just wondering, like, that oddity of feeling of actually having the main character back in the spotlight, and it just feeling strange, because when you think about right now Jujutsu Kaisen, obviously it's not like we have a vast plethora of chapters to go off of. This is chapter 86, and and then we have volume 0 on top of that, which you can't really count that in what I'm going off of, but you sort of can. And the fact that Yuji hasn't even been the main character in a lot of the story, because in volume 0 it was Yuta instead. And then we got Yuji, obviously, throughout the beginning, all the way up and through the whole Kyoto versus Tokyo battle. And after that point, it didn't really feel like he was the main character. Obviously he is, but just the spotlight has been so far shifted right now that it's very strange. There's actually the point where Akutami said over the summer that she had pretty much forgotten how to draw she says Itadori. I prefer Yuji. It's just easier to say. But after that point of the Kyoto versus Tokyo, they had the whole arc where Megumi unlocked a partial version of his area expansion, and with that whole part felt more like it was focused on him, because we found out more about his backstory, his sister and stuff, and then he got the real focus in terms of the spotlight of that arc. Even secondary, I would give it to Kugisaki over Yuji for her performance. But following that, we get the flashback with Satoru and Geto, and obviously Yuji was nowhere to be found. And then we get back to the actual story, the actual timeline, and then it was focusing on Nekomaru and Mahito. Further after that, we get to this arc with the whole Shibuya incident, and the whole arc starts out with Satoru. And it's not until now we're getting Yuji back into the spotlight. At the end of the last chapter, when Satoru, laid the hands and crushed Tanami, and then we got a little peer over at Yuji as he was hearing the possibilities of, who he was just thinking about, the patchwork-faced cursed spirit, that being Mahito. Now he knows his name, and he wanted to, take direct aim, go for him. Completely brush aside any other possible setups that don't really require him, and go for the person that he wants to destroy. And you saw some of that just raw brutality from Yuji in this chapter, though, just the way that he comes at it. It's not like he's complete like someone like Denji over in Chainsaw Man, where he's goring everyone around him. Yuji is just straight brute force, and it's just completely topples over in just that thuggish onslaught style attack on top of it. But he's hanging out with Mei Mei and her brother, and she's using her powers to connect to crows in order to try and get a lay of the land, try and figure out where everything is, where they're all going. Knows where the mutated humans are, the ones that we know that Mahito likes to twist and contort and just warp into gross, pretty much just, I don't want to say mutants, I just want to say abominations of what could be considered a human. But when she's able to figure out where, this is where all these cursed, not cursed, this is where all these mutated humans are, and over here there's a powerful curse that needs to be taken care of. And Yuji's thinking it's, Mahito. He wants to go after him. He's still salty about Junpei, and he wants to pretty much just pummel Mahito into the ground, crush his soul, and to leave him utterly annihilated. It'll be a while before that actually happens. I still feel that Mahito is going to be really the overarching main villain of the series. And you have Geto, but Geto is more of a villain for Satoru. And with Sukuna, a lot of Sukuna's attention and the way that Akutami's depicted him will be more tied towards Megumi, whereas Mahito will be more towards Yuji. That will be, his adversary and everything. But once they get there, he's underground. He runs into this big grasshopper cursed spirit that's just eating some dude's head. And it makes you wonder, because it's obviously set to be a strong one. That's what Mei Mei said, that this was a strong curse. and it was able to withstand attacks from Yuji, so it's definitely powerful. I mean, there weren't black flashes, but even just like his straight brute force or his divergent fist is gonna do some pretty hefty damage. You just see like not even the actual like attack itself, but just like the impact that he had. He's like smashing up, breaking areas, like carving through walls and stuff, through brick and concrete. And this dude, he's got a little bit of a goofy nature to him. He's always talking about being smart, and he doesn't seem like the actual brightest. But my curious question will be whether or not he gets a name. If he gets a name, then he'll probably stick around for a bit. If he's just I'm a strong bad guy and I don't end up getting a name, then I'll just be sure that he's going to get killed off and there's no further spots for him. I don't know if there will be. I mean, he seems to have a neat design. I like that big monstrous grasshopper, this big jacked man grasshopper. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, there's always a toss-up in questions when you have like characters and you're like, well, which one of these is going to be a reoccurring bad guy versus their one fight and they get splattered and die and they don't come back. But well, he's talking to him. He's been told by this grasshopper dude, the Mojito, has put him in charge of he's protecting the curtain. He's supposed to guard this area, and Yuji can see the item that is pretty much laying the curtain down, and he's ready to break it. He doesn't know 100% really what it's gonna really like lead to, because he says like the whole thing is kind of suspicious and he's a little bit iffy on it, but he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it. And at that point where the grasshopper guy is talking about how one thing that he's noticed is when the humans have their shape change, their soul contorted by Mojito and become those abominations, they don't taste as good, and that just sets Yuji off. He's just ready to lay on the hurt, just a heavy pounding on the guy, and he's mad because he's talking about how curses are always underestimating humans, and they really need to get over that and actually like take them seriously. And when the guy's like getting ready, like he's getting back up after taking those punches again, he doesn't look hurt. He looks pretty fine. It doesn't even look like there's bruises or anything. I mean, again, it doesn't look like Yuji used. I can't tell 100%. Like if he used Divergent Fist, usually there's that kind of cursed energy aura around his fist, versus just like when he's unleashing brute force. But obviously, we know Black Flash. We're gonna see the like black crackle of space distorting. But when the guy gets back up, he's like saying how only the smart people survive, the dumbest die first in, the way that how the world works. And he's like, well, I bet you don't even know what kind of curse I am. And Yuji's like, I'm pretty sure you're a grasshopper. You look like a grasshopper. And the dude is like flabbergasted. He was able to figure it out. And is like, this dude's pretty smart. I better watch myself and be a little careful. So again, it's weird getting back to Yuji after so long. We've had so many like teeters away from his character that it just some of the time you forget he's the main guy, and he hasn't gotten a ton for his character to really like gain a lot of like call over focus. But I think this will be the time for it, because we know that. Well, I think we can speculate that Akutami, focused a lot on Satoru in earlier parts, and the flashback arc, and even the opening of this arc, because if he gets sealed away or even killed, then it'll be all like if he's killed, then that's it. That'll be it for his character. Or if he's sealed, we don't know how long it'll be until we see him again. So something like, oh well, we're gonna get a lot out of the character at the moment. Then it'll make a lot of sense, because if you have like a bunch of plans for a character, and then these things you want to do with them, you want to actually get that accomplished. You're not like, well, I guess I'll wait 3-4 years until the story point where he gets unsealed or something to actually like do these things. You gotta get it out of the way, get that hype for the guy, and really understand why these characters are focusing getting rid of him. But at that point, we'll get more Yuji, because Yuji's one of the big front runners that will hopefully move up in the generational gap and be able to be big forces to combat the curses. Other than that, comment below. We got a nice little setup one. We got some nice exploration of Mei Mei. I actually really like the cover page where Mei Mei, she's got the crows around her and she's got that sick axe. And I'm looking forward to seeing what her character is, because her power is seeing through crows. So her ability, unless that's not her primary, like maybe that won't be like her her whole like beneficiary like way she kind of brings to the team, because she's got an axe. She's definitely physically strong. Maybe she's also like a brute fighter, and she's gonna be able to like do big heavy cleaves with her axe and just like crush people and cleave them utterly. But anyway, comment below, tell me your thoughts on her about the chapter, and tell me how you think things are coming up. We're gonna find out soon about the anime. We found out Toho is producing it. We just got to get a good animation studio. I really hope. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping it's Bones like the rumors say. So let's keep fingers crossed for that. We can't let Jujutsu Kaisen fall into bad hands. But other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video for the like button, hit the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. For that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.